It's a rainy, cold, wet Tuesday morning here in Lagos, Nigeria. We don't know what the weather is like in other parts. We hopefully connect with our correspondents and see what the weather report's saying. But we hope that you've been able to make it, to work safely for those of you who have to begin work early. But those who have to go much later, this is a time to be grateful for flexible work hours and, flexible and hybrid work options, remote work that allows certain people to work from home. But we recognize your importance, which is why come rain, come shine, News Central's Breakfast Central. Where is this snow?
In other countries, man.
Okay. Come rain, come shine, come snow, come winter, autumn, or spring. Breakfast Central will be here, bringing you the latest on stories happening around the country. My name is Olive Emodi, and you're welcome.
And I'm Benga Bro, and this weather is just reminiscent of Noah's time. I wish I could talk to Noah that, when all the animals were onboarding, please just leave snake and mosquito. No need, then you can bring the other ones. And vulture, please. I don't know what the use of vulture
There's one man in Ghana now.
You know the Yoruba word for vulture?
What's it?
Igun.
What's the implication of that?
No, it's just...
It's a funny name, right?
It's a terrible animal.
Igun.
Yeah, that's why football, football teams have nicknames after different things.
Eagles.
In animals, in Africa, we like animals.
Eagles.
Super Eagles of Nigeria, elephants of Cote d'Ivoire, and things like that. Then the Beninois football team, they were called the Squirrels of Benin. They used to beat them every time. Squirrel is a cute animal. That's why they used to be there. They now change it to lions, brown lions.
And how did they do it since
they've been winning now. How can you choose a meek animal, rabbit or squirrel? You have to go for.
What do you usually take before you come to work?
Coffee.
Good morning.
Oh my God. It's good to have you join us on Breakfast Central. This very rainy Tuesday morning in the city of Lagos. I really can envisage what we're going to see later.
It's gonna be
reports of flash flooding. It's been raining since 3 o'clock in the morning.
I woke up
and high intensity rain. I mean, at this point, you can't blame. This is an act of God. You can't blame drainages and.
No, you can't.
You can still blame
to a certain degree.
You can still blame.
It's bad. By the way, welcome to
bad
Breakfast
roads
Central.
become the effect of bad roads become worse during rainy season. But please,
it's bad. It's bad, and I think the advent of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road is now impacting on the Lekki Expressway. Anybody who dares to challenge, I say, come on board, welcome. Let's talk about it. If you are passing through Lekki Road this morning, you have every reason to shout like a popular social media advocate would shout when people are not doing well in the housing estates. You have the reason to shout the governor's name this morning. The roads are dark.
Yes.
Pothole ridden, especially
See,
Chevron.
I have every reason to
junction.
shout this morning, to shout the governor of Lagos State, to shout his name so hard. The roads are bad. There's no street lights. Funny enough, we had screamed about Lagos roads just last month, and it seems like the governor listened very quickly, and they quickly did what they call makeup.
Yeah, patch. But the rains have washed away the makeup.
Oh my goodness, you need to see the roads.
On the way to work this morning, I was sharing with you behind the scenes. On the way to work this morning, my driver fell into a hole because he didn't know that there was a hole there. Right, the road was really bad. He felt, when he came, he was drenched and he had an umbrella.
Oh, that's so
and I said, what happened? They said, I fell into a gutter. You know how bad that could have turned out? Yes. It could have really gone left quite easily. And then there's the issue of traffic light. On a normal day, it's hard to be able to get out to major roads when the traffic lights aren't working. So imagine how much worse it is when it's been raining. I have been complaining in particular about the traffic lights at Freedom Way Junction. And I say that thing is an accident waiting to happen. It's not me being negative. It is what it is. I'm not being pessimistic. If it's not fixed, it's an accident waiting to happen. Because there are people trying to get into the expressway at 5 a.m., 4 a.m., and the roads are busy at that time.
Do you know how many accidents I counted this morning? Do you know how many accidents I counted this morning coming to work? Every morning, I encounter at least 1 to 3 accidents on the Lekki Expressway, especially if you're leaving as early as 4 a.m.
Important artery. I am surprised that the government is not embarrassed enough to fix it. That is one of the most important roads in Nigeria because it takes you all the way to Epe, and that's the only way you can get there to the Dangote refinery. Everybody, the pressure on that road is so much.
It's a very key road.
You can't even put street lights, things like street lights, you can't fix it properly. And do you know the amount of revenue in taxes you're generating from that access?
1.something trillion naira.
Just that access. Think about it, the left side of the road, the right side of the road, the amount of residents, land use charge, the companies that are there, and that's the state of the road. It's terrible. I plied that road on Sunday, and I recall just before Chevron, the junction there, and of course the famous Freedom Road junction. Ozumba itself, it's in a terrible state. So,
and talking of Ozumba, we do have an update on that, since it's just Ozumba you want to focus on. Lagos State government announces night repair of Ozumba
and they've
commencing Monday.
Yesterday.
Yes, 15th to Sunday, 21st. It's called, September 2025, from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. They say the Lagos State government announces plans to carry out repair works on the stretch of Ozumba Mbadiwe Road from Bonicam Junction commencing Monday. And the repair works will take place at night from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. Motorists are implored to be patient while driving through the area.
They need to go beyond Ozumba.
That's the directive from the Lagos State Commissioner for Transportation, Mr. Oluwaseun Oshiemi. Mr. Oshiemi, I mean, well done. Good to know that you want to do this. But please, Honorable Commissioner of Transportation, Lagos State, add street light. Just add it. Don't just do the roads. It's terrible. Maybe we can help you, Commissioner for Transportation, to report the accidents that happen on that road every single day. This morning, there were two trucks. This morning, two trucks. It's always like when they're approaching the traffic light, they always climb the covert. Every time. Two this morning. Two of them. I felt so sad for a man who had dressed up going to work. He had a punctured tire. So he was soaked in the rain. He was trying his best. As soon as I passed, I said, oh my goodness.
You sit down and think about their lives and say, you know what? I'm done and I'm out. Until I moved houses, for the longest time, my tires were always getting bad on the Lekki Expressway. On one of such occasions, imagine as a woman, I didn't have a driver at the time. I was driving myself to work. And it was at about 5 a.m.-ish, Joe, right?
Yeah.
At about past 5.
Yeah, past 5.
And immediately my tire went out. Of course, the area boys were around. I started panicking. I called Joe. Thankfully, Joe was behind me. Wow. And that was how Joe came as my knight in shining armor.
I can be your hero, baby.
Yes. I can be Peleo.
I can be
Anyway, Celine says she drove all night. For we swam all morning. But we're here to bring you a great show. And maybe we should move on from all
No, still talking about the roads.
What's he talking about?
Yes, because Nigeria, Lagos is very boastful about Dirty December, about hosting, about being the largest economy in West Africa. Lagos and Nigeria will be hosting Africa's first UIM E1 World Championships on the Lagos Lagoon. This is very prestigious.
Wow.
Drogba is bringing his friend.
Actors,
celebrities, Tom Brady, everyone. The governor was in Monaco a few months ago. He took pictures with all the celebrities. So they'll be hosting the Lagos leg. I want to ask Mr. Governor that the streets of the Principality of Monaco, do they look like what we witness in Lagos? And you're hosting a world championship. Visitors
they'll fix it.
Tourists will come.
That's what they're fixing.
No, they need to fix the entire stretch. They need to. It shouldn't be cosmetic. We shouldn't fix things because we're expecting visitors. We should fix things because we pay taxes.
The problem is also
great infrastructure.
I'm not holding brief for the government.
Are they fixing it for Tom Brady? Is he paying taxes? I'm paying taxes.
No, so that it will look good. They will remember that Lagos was beautiful when they came.
I'm not holding brief for the government, but I imagine that the bureaucracy and red tape that exists.
They just have to make a comment now.
For all the approvals that will need to happen for these roads to be.
Have you guys moved to Sakatinabu because you are being so sarcastic this morning?
But on a serious note,
let's move on from sad news now. I'm tired of
look into the roads. The roads are deplorable. They are in a bad state. The earlier we can fix the roads And please put light now. There's
Yes.
solar
It's
light.
standard.
If a state is
It
generating
is
over many trillion,
standard.
please let's just
How
put
do you
light.
expect people
We're not
to
asking for
drive
much.
without light
It's
at
risky
night?
enough. I tell you, if you don't open your eyes wide, it's
And
like we're
full-
driving, we're
and
peering
full
into the
beam.
dark
And
every
driving
day.
with full beam, you're blinding
The next person
the
on the other
traffic on the other side.
Anyway, enough of the bad news, gentlemen. It's okay. Take a deep
It's
breath.
not bad news. We're just
It is bad
highlighting
news. It's
the
bad news.
things
It's
that's not
sad.
right.
It's sad news. Okay, take a deep breath. In, out.
Even presenters need therapy.
Exactly.
Yeah, we need therapy.
So now that we've done in and out, let's bring you good news. Guinness World Record confirms Hilda Baci's Nigerian jollof record. She has cooked the largest pot of jollof. And now this has made Hilda Baci a two-time winner of the Guinness World Record. She has set a new Guinness World Record, and this is a record that has never been set by anybody. So it's also double whammy. I won't call it
A
a double
new
whammy.
one.
A double win for
Victory,
her.
yeah.
So you can see the tweet is a new record. It says, largest serving of Nigerian-style jollof rice, 8,780 kilograms. That is, was achieved by Hilda Baci and Gino in Victoria Island, Lagos, Nigeria. That is the report there. They announced this feat on Monday on X, and that was the tweet. Now remember that Hilda Baci's fame rose to limelight after she did the first cookathon that sparked a wave of Guinness World Record applications all across Africa, not just in Nigeria, because our counterparts, our brothers and cousins in Ghana, everybody was trying to break Guinness World Records for love massage, kissing, the most ridiculous things that we had seen. Guinness World Record. I mean, at some point, I'm sure they had to come and be like, there go, who did these feats?
But since then, I mean, we've been having victories, and it's good that she's put Africa and Nigeria in the world.
So can we say that she's
the queen of record breaking?
She's the queen of record breaking.
Yes, she is.
No, there's one footballer that will juggle just
that guy was doing that for years, and he broke records. Nobody recognized.
But I mean, it's not.
Why.
Let's not lie. It's not something you get too excited about. You juggle ball on your head 8 times, on your backside.
Benga, can you juggle even?
I can't do it. So what's the big deal? But this is more.
This is food.
Enriching.
To tell you,
food.
exactly,
Food
this is
life.
more enriching. Now, that pot that you saw in the video, it's a really massive pot that took 2 months. It's massive. I knew what you wanted to say. It's massive, baby. It took 2 months for this pot to be built. And she ended up cooking 200 bags of pre-washed basmati rice. And this fed about, I think, over 16,000 people.
See that spoon?
No, because it was very important. I hear, I mean, I wasn't there, but I hear that they were all pre-washed because it was another issue. People, some people went there to look for what to criticize.
Oh, that they didn't wash it.
But the feed
How many bags again?
200 bags
Some
of
say
rice.
the rice, some parts not done, some done,
That's
some parts
all the
dry.
people who are saying
reminiscent,
rubbish, they can
don't
use
mind
their
them,
hands to
exactly.
wipe their mouth. Guinness World Record has declared Hilda a winner,
they hate it.
and people can stay in the corner hating, or they can put Nigeria on the world map. In the contest of Jollof, Nigeria has always been contesting with Ghana and with Senegal, but now with this Guinness World Record that Hilda has clinched for us, I think that it puts us as champions of Jollof.
And I'm expecting a response from AKT, Chef Dami, to cook the largest pot of
Dami has done well.
Now this is another video from Ghana, I believe.
Now, guess what's happening?
That's an old one.
An old video.
Yeah.
And I don't think they
this was not for Guinness World Record. They were just cooking rice.
But this rice looks tantalizing. This particular.
No, they just put more colors.
But let's take a look at the video of the moment where Hilda had a call with Guinness World Record team. It's a very long video, so we might not be able to play all of it.
Yeah,
but maybe you should check her page. It was certainly a tearjerker. You watch it and you get emotional. You see the work that.
You sure get emotional?
Yes, it was a tearjerker.
It's not just to cook rice.
No, it's not just to cook rice. So let's not downplay that. A lot of blood, sweat, and tears was put into achieving that feat. It took Hilda 9 hours, and not just Hilda and an entire team. And I particularly liked and I particularly liked that. She said that the win wasn't just for her; it was for all the chefs who joined her in stirring the pot. Everyone, she was so gracious in giving back the win to everyone else. But let's take a look at this video.
Should have hired Kevin Fitness as one. There's more
on Friday.
Yes, it was for all of us.
Yes, everybody worked really hard. It's good to see.
Yeah. Probably you're quiet.
I am quiet because I'm waiting for like a ready, steady go, or you can talk, and we're on and we're running. So I'm waiting for a cue to say we are on.
I'm so nervous.
Are we on? Okay. Good morning. I'll make a start. Good morning, Oreo and Hilda. Absolutely delighted to be here on behalf of Guinness World Records. Delighted to be invited by Hilda and by to adjudicate and verify the largest serving of Nigerian-style jollof rice. So that's the starter. So this is a brand new record. Okay, so this has not been attempted before, and we always like new challenges. Absolutely love new challenges. And so we said, yeah, we like the record, you can go ahead with it. We actually said to you, we set you a minimum of 4,700 kilograms. Okay, remember that number, you two, I'm sure you will. Because we'll be checking later to see if you remember that 4,700.
Okay.
But it's not just about the numbers. You will know it's not just about the numbers. We also define the record. So Nigerian jollof rice is defined as rice prepared with pre-boiled rice and traditional Nigerian methods using tomatoes, tomato paste, oil, onion, salt, and spices. The recipe must be pre-approved by Guinness World Records. That's very important. And the ingredients for this record must include a minimum. I've said that already. So further ingredients, local ingredients can be added. But what was important was our discussion on rice must constitute at least 80% of the total.
I wish we could fast forward that video to the end so you get to see the moment they announced her as winner. It was an emotional moment. There were certain conditions that needed to have been met. It wasn't just that she woke up one day.
She was on that course. Yes. She didn't even know it.
No, you don't know yet because you can finish doing all of that and you won't break the world record. There were certain key requirements. One, I think about 70% of the food had to be rice. I'm not sure now. Then also a chef had to certify. Chef Mutharika was the one that certified on behalf of Guinness World Record. It had to match Nigerian, so Chef Mutharika certified that it matched Nigerian style jollof because you can't cook your own ingredients or your own recipe and then say that you want to, you just want to go ahead and cook. So you can't wake up today and want to break a Guinness World Record without meeting the criteria. There's a criteria that's listed there. And Hilda made sure to pay attention to details, crossing her T's, dotting the I's, and today she is a champion yet again. So 2 Guinness World Records we have. This inspires young boys, young girls to know that whatever they can think of, they can do it.
It's inspired a lot of Nigerians. We've seen the longest weave ever. I don't know what that has to do with. She just, not to rain on her parade, but she made the longest weave. And one of our colleagues, George Essien, Comfort FM in Akwa Ibom, longest radio marathon.
Yeah.
That was very impressive.
So those things are, for people who look down on Guinness World Record, I think that people don't understand it. So this is the moment where she was told. People don't really understand that. First of all, it's a number of things here. First of all, it's the consistency. You being able to prove to yourself that you can do hard things. Because for you to be a Guinness World Record holder, it shows that you went through a very rigorous process to get there. So the commitment to being able to promise yourself that you will do something and then doing it, I think that's one. And then 2, the global recognition it brings. You can't take away the fact that this totally changed the trajectory of Hilda's life. Before Hilda became a Guinness World Record holder, she had her restaurant, her cooking show. Hilda was a TV presenter as well, like us. So she's had a whole different life after winning Guinness World Record than she had. I think we're the only media house that had access, that interviewed her just, I don't know, but our interview did really well. We interviewed her just before she won the first record. So yes, I think that it's important.
But
let's
some other
celebrate.
Guinness Book of Records are just, they come naturally, like
E.g.
footballing records, highest goal, blah, blah, blah. Of course, it's hardworking. And I've also seen longest tongue. Have you seen that one before?
Longest what?
Tongue.
Let's move on to our next story, please.
I mean, so from the exceptional to the most ridiculous, you get a whole list of it. And it's always good if you can buy a hard copy of the Guinness Book of Records and put it on your coffee table. It's good entertainment for you.
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, reading it sometimes, you find
we're
some
growing up, we used to-
outrageous
Exactly.
world records. There's one I read, I think that was 15 years ago. It had to do with the teeth. Anyway.
Or fastest time to bust a balloon with your bum. You know, things like that.
Let's take reactions very quickly before we move on to our next story, because the next one is another story that would interest you. Congratulations, Hilda, on your new Guinness World Record. Please, Guinness World Record, don't forget to also award this guy, the first man to be... This guy collected rice on both hands. Because when people ask us, how was he going to take the rice?
Maybe if you caption this picture, I will caption this as, I just want to make Mama proud.
Yeah, let's take another reaction very quickly. David Offor says, no doubt we have the best jollof rice in Nigeria, and yes, Hilda cooked the largest jollof rice ever in the history of mankind. This is tremendous and commendable. Nigeria is not about bad news alone.
Absolutely.
We get plenty positives too, and we agree.
Yeah,
This is a positive news. Yeah. Let's see, we have more reactions very quickly. Hilda Baci, they use her cooking skills win Guinness World Record. Some of them they use on their own bill, man.
And you, which one do you use?
Woo! Shots fired.
And that's that
Shots
guy. Which
fired.
one do you use your own?
That very dark guy.
Shots fired.
Not try. There's no shots fired here. Some people just wake up and cook up tweets that not really shoot
No,
at
but
anything.
it does happen.
It does happen. We know that. I mean, we've seen it before.
The fact that he's brave enough to say
he has a
And he should go and use his own cooking skills. Which one?
don't fight. Leave him now. He has his opinion now. Determination pays off. Congratulations, Hilda Baci. The beautiful part of this is that thousands of people were fed. Now, after that, do we have
It's
another
almost of biblical
I think pretty much
proportion.
that's all. That's all that we
when
have.
Jesus turned.
But we're told that there's another
benefit.
chef who wants to rival Hilda. Again, we don't know who that
People
chef
should
is.
please be original and think outside the box. If Hilda didn't think of this, would she have done it? There are many other things to do. Please be innovative, be creative, and let's stop this copycat culture. We'll go on a quick break, and when we come back, we still have more wake-up conversations for you. So sit back, relax, and grab your hot cup of coffee or tea, and join us back very soon.
Welcome back. Breakfast Central continues. We're still looking at wake-up conversations. We've got just a few more minutes to go. Good story is up next, and whichever way you want to call it, it's definitely a good story, and it's got to do with the fact that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is coming back today.
Daddy, oh yo.
Yes, he's coming back today. He has cut short his working visit or holiday.
Cut short, no, it's not cut short, it has concluded.
No, he cut it short.
Yeah, he
So why did you not tell us it concluded?
Concluded the work vacation ahead of schedule. That's ahead of
Ahead of
schedule.
schedule, yeah.
But it's still cut short now.
You're right.
You know, I concluded work ahead of schedule. I will return to Abuja on Tuesday, September 16, to resume official duties. The president departed for France on September 4, 2025 to spend part of his annual holiday and was initially scheduled to divide the period between France and the United Kingdom. Last week in Paris, President Tinubu held a private luncheon with his French counterpart, President Emmanuel Macron, at the Élysée Palace. Both leaders reviewed key areas of cooperation between Nigeria and France and agreed to deepen the partnership for mutual prosperity and global stability. This is coming from Special Advisor to the President, Bayo Onanuga. Well, it's good to have the President come back. That's good news. Another good news is that the Presidency has also cancelled the FOB that was to be implemented on importation, which is the free on board levy, which was to be 5%.
So
we talked about that too.
And the presidency has also, removed that 5% charge on telcos, the tax that they used to be on calls.
So I have two reactions to that.
The presidency is in a very generous mood.
Suspension of the implementation of the 4% FOB charged by Nigerian Customs Service. They said the following, I think it was particularly this paragraph too I had an issue with. It said, following extensive consultations with industry stakeholders, trade experts and relevant government officials, it has become clear that the implementation of the 4% FOB charge poses significant challenges to the Nigerian trade facilitation, environment and economic stability. Many importers and businesses have raised concerns about the increased financial burden this levy imposes, with potential adverse effects on inflation, trade competitiveness, and the overall business climate in Nigeria. Now, the two reactions I have to this. One, I mean, this is signed by PEM Secretary Special Duties for the Honorable Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun. And the reactions I have would be, okay, it's great, because there's a lot of pushback on this.
Yeah.
There was a pushback on this by Nigerians. Nigerians felt like this was not a good move. Business owners complained.
It was
direly,
loud.
You know, so the pushback was loud, and I'm glad that the government is listening. But the other complaint or the other pushback I would have about this is, if they're saying that this decision, the decision to suspend it, was based on interaction with relevant stakeholders, did these consultations not happen before? Why do we seem to often make policies and then see exactly, we go ahead of time, and then when we see the impact, the negative impact and the applicability of it, or the difficulty with the application of these policies, we then backtrack and suspend it? What would be better would be to have due consultation with relevant stakeholders and decide if to roll out certain policies. And if we find out that, you know, these policies are not applicable now, then we pause. Because what it might do is it might make us seem like a very unserious people, that we go make one policy, and realize it's not working, reverse it. We've seen that yo-yo dance happen more than once with the federal government and the policies that they've implemented.
You're right, but the good news is, I mean, they've suspended this.
So the good news
it
is
would be a relief for
And this is not
business
the first time it's been suspended. This is the third time.
And I don't even like that
It's
word,
being
suspension.
suspended.
Suspension is temporary.
Suspension means pause to resume at a later date.
Same with the 5%
reconsider.
on the fuel.
So they should cancel it.
Yeah. So it's back and
Outrightly.
forth, and I think I agree with Olive. Before you even go ahead and say, let's put out a press release that the president has suspended, why didn't you have a sit-down conversation with the same stakeholders? Now, recall that last month, while we talked about the FOB, we saw stakeholders protesting. They were protesting, yes. Both car dealers, people involved in, shipping, name it. Importation and all that. And they were talking, they gathered together and they were protesting. In short, some even linked it to tribal, reasons, because you have more Igbo people, Nigerians, come on. Anyway, they kept protesting, said it's enough, they shouldn't do it. So now that, like you said, couldn't you have just listened to them and sit
the
with
feelers.
them?
Then
But
before
now,
you come up with a policy, that's why the National Assembly, they do town halls and consultations.
Yeah, committees are set up and all that.
Committees are set up in the process of passing a bill to get feedback. And you could see that second paragraph, it was very thorough. And that's what you do. You don't put the cart after the horse. Yes.
You don't put the cart before the horse. The horse
exactly.
will always, and we seem to do that a lot. We then roll out this policy, and then there's a pushback. Then we go back and say, no. Even with appointment of ministers, remember when the name was put forth, everybody, how can you make this person minister of youth? Is this person even a youth? Then they quickly go back. But the good thing,
we have a listening government. We seem to have a listening
They listen when Nigerians push back. I think that is something that should be applauded.
Since they're listening, I would like to tell them, please, government, can you make petrol 200 naira per litre?
On that note, I think it's time for, let's get what Nigerians are saying, and then we'll share with you what our top stories are this morning. Whatever excuse they gave for the increment will still function after they have removed the 4%. They just tested the waters, and be rest assured, it will come back in another form. After all, there was no protest or uproar, and importation didn't stop. According to Otumba Adeolu, Masterpiece says, very interesting and massive, and we're still waiting for our dear president to reconsider on the current 5% fuel surcharge tax, as it's going to raise further economic tension following the fact that our economic circulation depends on fuel, as transportation remains the bedrock of our economic float, following the fact that our country depends on regional economic diversification, and statistics remains that 50 to 60% lucrative empowerment scheme for our youth above, explanation explained to you. About 20 to 40 years, our transportation company like Keke drivers, Okada Mini and Shuttle Bus, Uber Timper and rest, which the 5% fuel surcharge, once it's implemented, will raise further economic tension, as our transportation company will use it as an advantage to increase their price. Basically, the summary of it is,
Don't do it.
Don't do it, because if you do this, it will go. It's a
It will have ripple effect, yeah.
Across board. Gradually, Nigeria is getting better under Tinubu regime. Kudos, but you know, whenever they say regime, I'm like, oh, we're not in the military government.
It's administration.
It's administration. Our people rarely reduce prices to reflect changing conditions. Once prices go up, bringing them down becomes almost impossible. In Nigeria, the only real force that drives costs down is competition. Left alone, most businesses show little regard for reducing prices even when costs ease.
Absolutely.
Very true.
I remember they're always quick to say dollar don't go up.
It don't go
when
up,
dollar comes down, the price
doesn't
is
come
slow
down.
to come down.
Aiming at the right equilibrium is where the creativity of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his team will be greatly appreciated. They need to, for instance, correct a lot of fundamentals in both the informal and formal sectors, supported with consistent enforcement for service delivery like abroad, according to Ade. These are what Nigerians are saying. Tell him to buy bread for us while coming back. Chef Dami won't cook beans. Hey.
Please, they should
allow this girl breathe. Please, any small thing, Chef Dami this, Chef Dami that. She was just a young girl who dared to dream and was unfortunately exploited and manipulated. She has shared her side of the story. Let's allow her rest.
And she's gone to a proper chef school.
Yes, she's gone to culinary school. I'm proud of her for not allowing, what people will say to hold her back. We look forward to seeing.
She's a legend in the making.
Yes, to seeing the progress of Chef Dami. Okay, that's all that we can take this morning on our Wake Up Conversations. We'll now share with you what Nigerians are saying, but let you know that we're streaming live on YouTube. I will take comments much later as we proceed with the show. But let's share with you what the top stories are this morning. Will join us virtually. Stay tuned.
The Delta State Council of Nigerian Labour Congress is drawing a battle line with the state government over the newly introduced dress code for its civil servants, as the state government insists that the policy is aimed at promoting discipline, decency and professionalism within the civil service. News Central's correspondent Austin Azu completes the report.
The new dress code for civil servants in Delta State is drawing mixed reactions from within and outside government circles. The directive, issued by the state head of service, Minimi Oseji, sets strict rules for attire based on rank and gender.
These are not new rules. They are rules that have been there because the service has its own rules for civil servants.
What I see that may be a little bit discriminatory is that some persons are empowered to be more decently dressed than others. Like the legal officers, the law officers, the members of the House of Assembly, the protocol officers, this cadre of officers, they have allowances for outfits.
So let the government include this, what they call wardrobe allowance. That's what they do in the banks now. That's why you find the bankers dressing well as if they are superhumans. No.
At a press conference in Asaba, the State Commissioner for Works, Railroads and Public Information, Charles Anyago, says the dress code is aimed at promoting discipline, decency and professionalism within the civil service.
That you must take cognizance of Code 04314, page 42 of the Civil Service Rules, which says that you must be decently dressed. What we are talking about is decency. Where an individual comes to work and you are wearing spaghetti hands, is it your intention to seduce your directors?
The chairman of the state NLC, Goodluck Ofobruku, who criticized the government's directives, has convened an emergency congress for the leadership of the union to determine the union's stance on the government's policy.
Yes, I have already summoned a state executive council meeting of Nigeria Labour Congress made up of all the unions in the public service and all the unions in the private sector. By Wednesday, we shall sit and look at the directive, and the State Executive Council will direct me as appropriate. For now, we say no to the new dress code. And it is not just me, it is Nigeria Labour Congress, Delta State, and the Trade Union Congress, Delta State Councils.
According to the circular, male senior officers from grade level 13s and above are required to wear full suits, while lower grades are expected to wear shirts with ties. Bushy beards are also prohibited. For women, the policy permits corporate gowns, skirt suits, and trouser suits for senior officers. However, tinted hair braids, long artificial eyelashes, and artificial nails are not allowed. In Asaba for News Central, Austin, Azu.
Olive Emodi. No, you have the floor. How can I?
Olive, we're waiting for you to come back. Austin Azu, great job. Well done on that report.
How can I, a native of Ondo State, comment on what's happening in Delta State?
I mean,
what moral authority do I have? How can a native of
the South, Akwa Ibom State, talk about
issues in Delta State?
When Governor Moema is doing his own, we don't used to drag you.
No, I understand. We'll get there, but today, Olive, they say you should
you have the floor, my sister.
Artificial lashes. Honestly, I just think that this is very ridiculous.
They say it's to instill discipline and professionalism.
I can understand having a certain kind of dress code. For example, we as TV presenters, there's a way that you present yourself. You won't come to work in spaghetti straps and all, right? But I don't even think that these civil servants have time for that. I just think that that policy proclamation is an unnecessary busybody. That these civil servants don't have the time for that. They don't even have the
They even
resources for that.
self-regulate. And I think, senior civil servants, they won't keep quiet if they see a Gen Z civil servants stepping out of line, sagging and doing all sorts of things. They will warn you, because in civil service, they also send you on errand to go and buy amala.
Exactly.
So many youth corpers can testify that half of their civil service used to run errands. Go and buy
there, you say, I want to do this thing. Can't you see I'm working? What is the work they're doing? They're breaking granules.
Yeah, and things like that. So it was an unnecessary proclamation. But I love the NLC state chapter. They said they will meet at the executive state meeting and deliberate on this. But for him personally, the dress code is a no-no. And you trust the NLC. They are always in the mood. And labor unions to pick a fight. If it's not Dangote today, it's the state government tomorrow, it's the federal government, and all of that. So
my issue with them is that if you're paying somebody well enough, first of all, a number of these civil servants are not adequately paid. They're not properly paid or paid in time. The focus should be on how to improve the quality of life and the welfare of the civil servants. There are things that the government can do. If you're so bothered about their fashion, increase their wardrobe.
I like what that man said.
No, but Olive, contrary to what you're saying, it's actually a decrease that will be necessary, because if you have enough money, that's when you can start thinking of colored braids, acrylic nails.
Do you understand? Like, I don't think, and for me, it's how does this affect the quality of their work? How does my makeup, very soon they'll come and say, I'm sure it's one very spiritual person at the top there that has come to impose their religious and seeming moral values.
What is happening? What is happening?
And I don't think there's an abuse of the dress code.
There's none.
They were just on their own, and somebody woke up and said, let's give them this dress code. It's not a university community. These are adults.
These are adults. Are we in primary school? Are we in secondary school? Two, what's happening to our policy and decision makers? We've seen Governor Bago recently say, before you preach on Friday, submit your sermon, let's vet it, let's ensure that you're using the right scriptures, and so on. How many people are going to vet each?
We've also seen the governor of Jigawa State. Made them arrest citizen journalists for talking about the decay
of hospital. And then we hear recently, allegedly,
Commissioner of Health.
Yes, and allegedly we hear that he just paid teachers 13,000 naira. I saw proof lying online.
Was it an extra money?
13,000 naira.
I find it very ridiculous.
Salary, 13,000 naira.
See, again, I would say that what we have in a number of our governments, of these leaders, would be misplaced priorities. Someone that's eating. Now, person who don't try belefun, and they think of all these extra things. And it's important that the government focuses on what matters, focuses on the majors as opposed to majoring on the minors.
Olive, wouldn't you give the government of Delta State, your home state, some credit for the gender balance in sharing the portions? Men cannot come with bushy beard, they can't sag.
That's why I cannot invite you now.
No, it's not bushy, it's well trimmed. I mean, this is international standard.
You can't walk in civil service.
So you know the problem with policies like this is that how do you determine what is bushy and what isn't?
And what makes you a man? All men should have a beard. Have you seen a lion without its mane? That's a pussycat.
Wow, Joe.
He has beard. He's a man.
I just started keeping beards, but I'm thinking of going back.
Please don't do it. I will stop talking to you. I will delete your number from my phone.
Okay, let's move away from Delta State to somewhere as well, still within. Okay, this time around we're moving outside of Nigeria. I had thought we'd be going to Delta State, but let's look at Malawi, where millions of voters are heading to the polls in what's being called the most consequential election since the country embraced multi-party democracy in 1993. Over 7 million registered voters will be casting their ballots today, not just for the presidency, but also for the parliamentary seats and local council positions. With 17 presidential candidates on the ballot, the race is anything but predictable.
The frontrunners are incumbent President Lazarus Chakwera of the Malawi Congress Party, who is running for a second term, and his longtime rival, former President Peter Mutharika of the Democratic Progressive Party. Now, this marks their third showdown, and the rivalry is intense. News Central's Bongani Siziba joins us from Malawi this morning here on Breakfast Central. President Chakwera will cast his vote at the polls, and definitely, I'm sure, it's already done or it's about to be done. But let's head to you right now. Good morning to you, Bongani.
To our viewers, if I could ask my colleague Sibonelo Mkhasibe to show you my background. The president is here and he will be walking through this place anytime soon now, where he's going to cast his vote the other side. And we have just been told that the president is not going to take any media questions or any questions. He's just going to vote and then leave. But I can tell you that the voting is going on smoothly. We woke up around 4 to go around polling stations. The first polling station where we went to, there was a little bit of chaos because people didn't know where exactly to go, but afterwards things were smoothly. Voting started. We moved to another polling station where we saw thousands of Malawians queuing just to cast their vote, and we are here at Malembo Primary School, where in Lilongwe, where the President Lazarus Chakwera is going to be voting. But I'll just move out to allow my colleagues Bonelo just to show you around the people that are here that are waiting to cast their vote. It has been going very smoothly. I can say that all the polling stations that we have been going very smoothly. Police are around, also the military around, just checking for security to see that everything is going on well. Around 7.2 million registered voters casting their votes today out of more than 10 million eligible voters. So we have at least a difference of around 3 million those who didn't register to vote. But now they are out in their numbers to choose the person they want to rule them for the next 5 years.
Bongani, I believe you're in Lilongwe. Is there any report of the former president, Peter Mutharika? Has he voted in these elections? And when are we expecting the results to be announced? And are you expecting a keenly contested election?
I didn't quite get what you said, but I just heard something about results. So if I can answer to that, as you can see on our visuals, the SADC election observers just coming through to check if everything is going on well. We also saw other observers from COMESA and other observers that are around just coming through just to check if everything is going well. But talking about results, so what will happen is after the voting closes at 4 p.m. Votes will be counted at polling centers, then taken to the tally center that is in Lilongwe, where they will be tallied, and then some of the results being announced. But I just heard that when I was talking to other journalists here, that it might take up to 8 days for them to announce, especially the presidential results, but everything will be done today. Results will be counted at polling stations, then taken to the tally station where they will be put together just to tally the numbers. But I can tell you the president is here, but I can't see him, but we just heard that he's here. So anytime from now, the president will be coming to join the queue. So we had then go through the process of getting his name checked. After his name is checked, then they are using the ink that they dip your finger inside so that some people, they don't come and vote twice. So he will also do the same process. Then from there, he comes to this ballot box that is here, and then that's where he's going to vote. And then after, he will put his ballot paper there on that ballot box that we see there. So this is the process that the president will also do. We understand that the president will not jump the queue. He will also stand in the queue, wait for his chance to votes, then goes. Like I said in the beginning, the media, a person for the president, just told us that the president is not going to entertain any questions from the media. He will just vote, then leave.
Also, I'd like to find out, I can see from the video there seems to be a crowd. Would you say that there is a decent turnout at the various polling units? And I was worried that there might be concerns of voter apathy, but it would seem that that might not be something to worry about. What's the true position regarding the turnout at the polling units?
Olive, can you please repeat your question? You are a bit faint.
I was asking if you would say that there is a decent turnout at the polling units. Would you say a lot of people have come out to vote?
Yes, definitely. If the visuals that we sent through, you saw that the turnout, it's a big turnout, especially in the urban areas like Lilongwe. And here at the school that we are at, if I could also ask my colleague to move further so that he can show the visuals of people that are here. Yes, it's quite a big turnout. The queues, if I could count, there are more than 10 queues that I see, long queues here, people out in their numbers. So I can safely say that the queues are big. Citizens have come out in their numbers to vote. In the polling stations that we went through, we saw people voting in their numbers. The queues are big, despite that there is also a percentage that did not register, but the turnout is quite big.
Are we expecting this election to last? What's the duration, basically, for today? How long are we expecting this election to last? These elections, I mean, the election for today. How long?
The elections, they started early this morning at 6 a.m. and voting stations will close at 4 p.m. However, the Malawi Electoral Commission said that those that will be in the queue after 4 p.m. they will be allowed to vote. But actually, the polling stations would have closed then, so they will just allow those that are in the queues. But with the quite turnout that I'm seeing here, I doubt that in many stations by that time people will still be. There will be some people who wouldn't have come out to vote, because so far about 4 or 5 polling stations that I've been to, the queues are quite long, are very, very long, and we are still seeing people still coming, joining the queues. So we'll see what happens around 4 p.m. But as of now, the voting is happening in Malawi, and citizens have come out in their numbers to choose who they want to rule them for the next 5 years. I've been speaking to many citizens, some of them, but the challenge is the language barrier. Though those ones that could speak English that I spoke to, many are speaking about the economic challenges that Malawi is facing. I am sure you have seen the queues of fuel. Even today, they are still there. Some of them saying that maybe they won't be able to go to their voting stations because they have to take transport or drive. Some of them maybe drive to their rural homes just to vote. So because of the fuel scarcity, some of them won't be able to make it to their rural areas. But those that are also in the cities, they are talking about also Malawi rather is dependent on agriculture. So most of the people I spoke to said that the fertilizers in Malawi are very, very high, and most of the farmers, they cannot afford. So these are some of the challenges that they are facing. However, they are ready to vote for whoever they want to rule them for the next 5 years. We know that we have also Peter Mutharika, the former president of Malawi, who is also vying for the same seat. We have Joyce Banda, the former president of Malawi, who is also vying for the same seat. And we have the current vice president who took over when the former vice president passed away. He's also vying for the same seat, and other candidates too. So after today, when the Malawians vote, when the results come out, we'll see who is going to take that position and lead Malawians for the next 5 years.
Yeah, I want for the Malawians to have a peaceful transition of power, and that the elections and the polls reflect the desire of the people. Thank you very much, Bongani Siziba, for joining us from Malawi. We'll be following up with you. And now let's share with you what's coming up next on Breakfast Central.
Welcome back to Breakfast Central. We had a sit-down with Special Advisor Media and Public Communication to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on the state of the nation, with key issues ranging from economy to insecurity and many more challenges facing Nigeria. Today, we will bring you the exclusive session with Honorable Dr. Sunday Dare, who was also a former Minister of Youth and Sports.
Thanks so much for staying with us here on News Central. Today we have an exclusive, a conversation that many would be looking forward to hear. And it's one that's got to do with definitely Nigeria. Now, we will be talking to someone who has been within the arms of power, and one who has actually been there and has done that. Joining me in this conversation is a former Minister of Youth and Sports, and currently a special advisor to the #1 citizen, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, talking about on communications. I do have with me here, we have Mr. Dr. Sunday Dare. I need to add the doctor there so we can clarify.
Good morning, Joe.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having us today.
So many things to talk about in a very short time, but we'll try as much as possible to ensure that we manage our time well. First of all, there has been conversations around a whole lot, but I'm going to take them one after the other. I'm going to start off first with the communication from the presidency. Pretty much Nigerians are thinking or think at a certain point that aren't we getting too many information from too many special advisors to the president? Because it's almost like at a certain point, every SA wants to talk on a certain issue.
Well, I think that you have a country that is vast in terms of population. You have a citizenry that is very expectant of the performance of government. You have a citizenry that needs to be informed in a comprehensive way. You have a government that is also quite busy on several fronts. There's a lot happening. The last time I checked, I read of about 35 different initiatives in terms of policies and projects and initiatives that are identifiable by this government. And there's a need for effective communication. We also live in a world where you have a multiplicity of channels of information. You talk about the whole gamut of the social media. You talk about the legacy media, the newspapers. You talk about the networks that we have. But also on top of that, you have the presidency and its communication team. And our work beyond just saying what the president says is also making sure we cover every single government policy, whether it's been implemented by the Agri Ministry or by the Defense Ministry. So when this information comes out, we are at work trying to put out the information. These are not conflicting information. It's like piloting the information. The point I make often is this. People go to different channels and platforms to get their information. So if you decide that you've issued a press statement and you assume every Nigerian has heard about it, that's not an effective communication. So you have a spread out. Some put it on social media. Social media also determine, is it going to be Twitter or X? Is it going to be Facebook? Is it going to be Instagram? Some also put it on radio. Is it going to be in Hausa radio, Yoruba radio? So it's an attempt to make sure that enough information. A few times also, you try to break it down. Some of us break it down into capsules. Pick out the unique information. How do you apply yourself? Oh, Nelfon is fantastic. They're spending 86 billion on Nelfon. Good. Somebody needs to take it further to say, you know you can benefit from Nelfon. If you have a son that is 18-year-old, if you have somebody that is in school, this is a process, this is a process. And so that's what you see. Cascading information down is critical. You have to break it into several. So it's an effort to make sure that information gets to our people in a comprehensive manner, but also in a capsulized manner that is easily digestible.
But this has led many to say that it's like we're having a duplication of duty. Aside that, it's also leading to questions around having too many people in the cabinet or too many people who's working with Mr. President, because sometimes we do hear, of course, that you have an SA who has an SA, who has an assistant, who has an assistant. And in line with what Nigerians are going through, then they're being told, you have to tighten their belt.
The president's appointments are clear and statutory. And we must draw a line. Even as journalists, we know there's authority. There's authority that derives from the office of the president, that derives from the Constitution. For instance, special advisors. The power of the president to pick special advisors is clear, is so designated. Also ministers. So just as you can have somebody just decide. So when you have these secondary appointments that are not official, it's done by individuals who, if you appoint a PA for yourself now, it's not made by the management of New Central. And you cannot, because they're not drawing salaries, but you have a PA for your own convenience. So what we're saying is a misnomer, and I think that will be soon corrected, is a misnomer that an SA or a DG will appoint an SSA, then the SSA rolls out SSAs, and it's a misnomer, and I know that has been addressed already.
Let's quickly go into the aspect of insecurity. We did see what many have termed to be unconstitutional, what took place in Rivers State for 6 months, where a sitting and elected governor was removed and, of course, replaced by a sole administrator who took over the role of a governor.
Well, at the tail end, we're at the tail end, just a couple of 72 more hours. I thought the debate about the rightness or wrongness of that decision had been settled. But since you have brought it up, I will say 3 things. First, in 6 months, we have seen that the reason for that state of emergency have been justified. We've seen stability, we've seen reconciliations, we've seen local government elections. These were things that were totally absent. There was political instability, there was confrontation, the system was being heated up. It was impossible to hold local government elections and all of that. So it has achieved its purpose, and that's important too. Section 35 is very clear. And the law, sometimes they say the law is an ass, you get various interpretations. But the president is well informed and advised. He took legal whatever. What does the law say? Where are my powers? Can I use those powers? When it comes to statecraft, there are certain decisions a leader must take. When you perceive that there's an existential threat, a leader has the choice to either do nothing or do something. And that do something is also divided into two. You can do something according to the letter of the Constitution, or do something that is extraordinary beyond, what the law says. In statecraft, you have that power. But you see a president that has confined himself to the limits of the Constitution. We've seen the result of it. The stability that's there now, the development of River State will go on once that takes place and the governor returns. And the purpose of that state of emergency has been fulfilled.
I'm sure if we go into that, we would continue pulling that rope. Yeah, possibly we wouldn't get to the end.
No, there are condition precedents. It's not the first time.
Yeah,
but
we also hear that
but
there are also clarity or statements that the governor has been arm twisted to actually accede to a few.
So let me say, you know how many versions of the stories we've had about River State crisis.
So which one is true?
About Fubara. I'm just saying there's a tendency to just have multiple story angles and all of them. But I think if we keep our eye on the ball, it's about the contest for power between the former governor and the current governor. It's about disagreements over certain issues. And those disagreements led to a dislocation of the political space. And when it comes to development, even the voters and the citizenry, once the political space is heated up, those that are within the power lose, but the people themselves lose. For instance, resources from the federal government going to River State are suspended for 2 months. The arms of government were not working properly. So if you keep your eye on that, the efforts in place, working in tandem with making sure that that political space is stabilized, and River State, the House of Assembly can come back, the governor can come back, the local governments are functioning, are we going to achieve that? So in this instance, you have a president who decided, look, I'll keep my eye on the ball, do what is important for River State. The stories will keep flying around. You can never have one story. But you also have Governor Fubara who is coming back. For him to have risen to be governor, you must give him a bit of credit. You must also see that, look, in order to make things work, I have to serve the people. You make compromises. Politics is about understanding. It's about give and take. It's about compromises. It's not a winner-take-all. And that's what we've seen. The parties, antagonists, protagonists on both, I don't want to call names. Each of them have had to make a bit of sacrifice. And that's why we're at the point we are now. You've seen that even the sole administrator did a Thanksgiving. He also gave a report card saying the reason for which I've been able to fulfill. I think we should give this president credit, because the point, we had reached a tipping point. If he had waited 1 week, 2 weeks more, we'll have been saying something different about River State. And Rivers is critical because it sits at part of the core of the oil producing region. You knew where we were before during the year that there were days. Now, there's a measure of stability. When they stabilized River State with the state of emergency, what happened? We started moving from 1.1 to 1.2 to 1.4 to 1.6 million. So, a president that looks at the big picture and fixes that little ache constitutionally, not militarily.
Talking about the president fixing the ache, there seems to be a nagging toothache in the north and also in the center. We're still wondering if a state of emergency was to be called for River State, how come there hasn't been a state of emergency called on the insecurity that is bedeviling states like Plateau, Benue, and the likes?
No, okay.
How long must we wait?
Let me relate this, because in the first year, the president actually declared a state of emergency when it comes to food security. And that state of emergency on food security did not translate into shutting down farms and the rest. What it meant is a sense of urgency in marshalling the resources of state into agricultural production. That also means that, activating all the levers, local government, state government, ministry, agencies, in that direction. Now, if you apply that to the security, there's clearly a state of emergency in the security sector. And how do you know that? First, the procurement of military hardware has been on the increase. That's one. Two, the Toscano jets that was ordered prior by the previous government that was delayed, this presidency has been able to get those Toscano jets. And even the Chief of Defense Staff, about 2 months ago, said clearly, we have what we need. We have the hair and the power that we need. Now, you look at the budget for defense, that's also critical. And then you look at what efforts have been made and the achievements. About 135 terrorist leaders have been neutralized. Captives that have been released are over 35,000. That is important. But I think the most significant that shows that the security effort being made by this government is really on point is the Ansaro brothers that were picked up, the two of them. They headed for the US and the UK government to recognize that and commend, because security is about intelligence. It's about the early warning system. It's not about what you do after the damage has been done. It's about what you do that is preemptive. So, and when it comes to the issue of security and security, there's no state that is ever free. There's no silver bullet. Just last week, Kirk was shot point blank in a country like America. If a top politician was shot in Nigeria today, God forbid, the entire country, this country is not safe. A month ago, 3 weeks ago, 16 young kids were shot down in school in America. The entire country did not say, oh, the government is doing nothing. What happens is, once you have this insecurity problem, how does the state respond? Does it respond in quick step, arrest made, certain things put in place? We need a responsive government. And from this administration, you have a responsive government.
But some of the killers have said to have, they are large. They still haven't gotten some of them up until now, especially those who committed the atrocities in Plateau State and the likes. But
yeah, but I know for Benue, just last week they arraigned about 7 or so of them for Benue. Again, you see, you have to keep doing the work until you are able to find, you know how long it took the United States of America to get Osama bin Laden?
Very long time.
But they stayed on it. That's the work of intelligence. The work of intelligence is tedious. You also have to be deliberate, so that as you're lining up the facts, you don't torpedo some of the facts. Because if you get too much in a hurry, the lead you're following, once it dries up, you will lose the person you're looking for. And I think that from top to bottom, from Malam Noor Ribadu, the National Security Advisor, to our service chiefs, we have to give them the benefit of the doubt, because this, again, is a vast country. You know, I'm a boundary, when you talk about border security, that's my area of expertise. We have 1,607 unpoliced, between Nigeria and Niger. You stretch that to Benin Republic, you stretch that to Cameroon, totally unpoliced. How do you deal with that? The Chief of Defense was saying, let's build a wall. Why is Trump building a wall right now on the Mexican-US border? Because of insecurity, the problems are facing.
So is Nigeria planning to build a wall?
Yeah. No, well, there's been no policy on that. What we have better drone coverage of the place. We also see that government is moving to these ungoverned spaces and put some level of government authority. And what is that? Put a school there, put a hospital there. That's the way you take care of this insecurity, because those ungoverned spaces, they're the ones that these terrorists take over. But once there's a presence of government, some form of authority, they're exposed. So I know that effort is ongoing, and I think that's the best approach.
All right, finally, because we're running out of time, the ADC is here. 2027 is around the corner. Earlier on, we had seen campaigns flourishing, going up and down, even prior to the approved
and INEC came out last week.
And INEC came out to say stop that. But your party, the APC, was strong on pushing 2027. I mean, celebrating the president, billboards all across different areas, up until it took a longer time before we heard that the presidency said it should be stopped. Two things. What do you make of starting early campaigns, which ordinarily shouldn't have been? And then secondly, the ADC is around the corner. They have been recognized by the Independent National Electoral Commission.
So I'm glad that INEC came out and kind of warned against early campaigns. But you recall that 3 months ago, the presidency came out in a very clear statement, disassociating itself with the billboards sprouting up, especially around Abuja and other places, and making it clear, quoting the INEC rules and saying, listen, whoever is responsible, you should stop, because it's not time for campaigning, it's time for governance. This presidency is just about 2 years plus, and we have work to do. Let's stay focused. And I think that statement then by the presidency really drilled on. I'm glad that 3 months later, INEC is coming. I wish INEC had come out much earlier. But you see, when you have a political climate that is active, and for this country, you know what it is, you get things like this. You have citizen journalists. You also have citizen politicians. You know, citizens that, for them, politics is it A to Z. We don't control what the entire citizenry, what they do, but we know that INEC, an institution charged with that, must be upfront, reminding parties and also. But yeah, the ADC is here. You know, earlier, the ADC, when they came on, they said, oh, the president will tell INEC not to register them. And we came and said, look, the president is not about that. It's a Democrat par excellence. And what happened? INEC, when it did its due diligence, when they met all the conditions, ADC was registered. They have their own internal problems. You know, David Mag, Aregbesola, the court case flying, you know, even at night, another one was issued. That's the problem. The ADC is welcome because we believe in multi-party democracy. It's going to be a competition. You show me what you've done. And that's it. You know, this administration cannot and will not be distracted with the ADC noise. The president has a mandate to govern this country, to make life better, to renew the hope of Nigerians. The ADC is busy with forming the party and making all the noise. That's fine, they can do it, but the president will not be distracted.
Thank you so much for your time, Honorable Dari, for speaking with us. We look forward to have you again. Hopefully we can touch base with some very critical conversations, especially surrounding 2027 and what truly affects every single Nigerian. Stay with us. You're still watching News Central.
Nigerian entrepreneur Tara Feladorotoye will convene the Building Beyond You conference on Thursday, 19th or 18th September 2025 at the Harbour Point in Victoria Island, Lagos. This landmark gathering of African founders and entrepreneurs will feature renowned leaders such as Atedo Peterside, Ibukun Awoshika, Feladorotoye, Salem King, and other top business builders. The conference is designed for entrepreneurs who want to evolve from being the engine of their business to creating organizations that thrive beyond their personal involvement. Drawing from real-life examples, Building Beyond You highlights the shift from personal success to generational significance, equipping participants to build companies with systems, backbone, and legacy. We're joined by two major voices in separate spheres and generations, but joining us in the studio is a leading voice in the world of content creators. Some call him the creator's creator. I'm talking about Salem King. It's good to have you, Salem.
Thank you so much for having me. Honored to be here.
Today is day 71 of 101. Let's first of all talk about, why content creation and building creators has become a mission, because it's beyond creating content for you. It's become your mission and your drive. Why was that, or why has that become important to you?
Definitely because Nigeria has a very large young population, and one thing about Nigeria is that we're always looking for ways to create opportunities for ourselves. There's a running joke that no matter what country you go to, there's a Nigerian there. It's the same way here at home. So I first started out just wanting to teach and share my knowledge, but I saw how much of an impact it made with young people. So I took it upon myself to try to shorten the journey for as many people as possible. It's really tough to be a full-time creator in this part of the world. You go study economics, your parents are like, what are you doing with your life, trying to do something creative? So I just wanted to shorten that journey for as many people as possible. All the things that took me 5 years, it doesn't have to take someone else that long, because I am teaching and sharing my knowledge on social media, via events, through my products and stuff like that. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So now we're looking at Building Beyond You, and this is going to be targeting entrepreneurs, founders, and people who are looking to leave a legacy. How would you say storytelling forms a huge part of businesses, and translating that into sales? And like this is saying, it's equipping people for a legacy. How would you say that storytelling plays a key role in all of this?
people will forget very valuable information, but we never forget a good story. Whatever is presented to us in the form of a story, it sticks with us for a long time, whether it's a song or a book or a movie. So with businesses too, people need to take responsibility for telling their own business stories. If I had $1 for every time a business owner has told me, influencer marketing doesn't work, I paid this person and it didn't convert, my response to them is always, you need to become the influencer for your own business. You need to tell the story of what you're building. You need to carry it on your head. You need to be the one who is able to talk about it with the most confidence and with the most consistency, more than anybody else. 30 years ago, if you wanted to build any kind of brand, you had to spend a lot of money. You had to be on TV, you had to be in the newspaper, you had to write a book. Now, with a smartphone and an internet connection, you can tell stories, you can reach the whole world just from wherever you are. That's an advantage that it pains me to see a lot of people not take advantage of, So with social media and just simply being able to tell a story, the limits are now non-existent. The barrier to entry is non-existent. There's no bottleneck, there's no gatekeeper. You can reach anyone, anywhere, and that's something I always encourage business owners to learn more about. Just learn to tell a story.
Okay.
Because, yeah.
Thank you so much, Salem. I believe it's time to bring in our second guest in this conversation, business consultant and leadership expert, Mr. Fela Durotoye. Good morning to you, and thanks for joining us Breakfast Central this morning.
Thank you so much for having me. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, loud and clear. We're happy to have you join us this morning. Now, Mr. Durotoye, building beyond is about moving from founder-driven to system-driven businesses. How do you personally define building beyond yourself as a leader? And can you share some personal anecdotes, if you may?
Well, thank you so much for having me and thank you for giving us the platform to have this conversation. For me, I think building beyond you is about taking something that you believe in and creating a platform for other people to believe with you and to be able to make contributions and add value in a way that makes sure that that thing that you believe, whether it's a business, whether it's whether it's for profit, it's an NGO, it's a church, an idea, whatever that idea is, you've got to be able to find a way to make sure that that idea can not only survive without you, it must be able to succeed without you. It must be able to give other people the opportunity to believe with you in the same thing that you believe, and then give them the opportunity to add value and make sure that it continues to grow, whether you are there or not. That's what building beyond you is. It's giving other people the platform to add value. One person, for instance, Tara Fela Durotoye, had a vision of a conference. Guess what? Today, Salem King, Trisha Bees, several other founders have bought into that and, in a sense, found ways to add value to that conference. So it's not about Tara anymore. It's about the concept. It's about the idea. And that's what building beyond you is. The way I like to say this in summary is that when you build beyond you, you're going to need to find a way to build something that would outlive you, but also something that will relieve you. And I'm not just playing with words. I'm saying that you've got to be able to build something that other people can carry beyond where you can carry it. But more importantly, you've got to be able to build something that would give you rest whilst other people are sharing that burden with you and carrying it and cheering for it and making it succeed. So that's what building beyond you is for me. Setting a vision, making sure that other people can buy into that vision, giving them the opportunity, the responsibility, empowering them with the authority to be able to do as best as they can so that collectively we can be able to build something that will outlive us.
All right. I mean, you've talked about building something that would outlive us and then something that will carry on possibly to the next generation. But many SMEs today struggle with actually trust and delegation. I mean, I can tell you that for free, that sometimes you find out that the people who work with you or people you work with do not see beyond what you've put, especially the roadmap. Even though they see it, you still feel the need to return to ensure that you continue to guide them. So how can founders practically build teams that actually perform at high level without being micromanaged?
Well, first of all, I love that question because it's the reality that most people are dealing with. But this is the way I like to answer that question when founders and CEOs seek my advice and counsel. And the way I say it is, you can't give what you don't have. That's on one hand. But people cannot receive what you don't give. In other words, if you don't have clarity about your business, they can't be clear about your business. If you don't have belief in your business, they can't believe in your business. You can't give what you don't have, but people can't have what you don't give. So it's important that the first thing that all founders must be able to do is to be able to clarify what is the business that we're in, why are we in this business, what does success look like, and why will our success be important not only to us, those who would contribute to that success, but to the larger society. When people buy in to the reason why you're doing what you do, then the chances are they will carry that belief with them and they will be able to run with it. A lot of businesses are built because the founder wants to make money for the founder. Now, what happens is that you will attract other people who also want to make money for themselves. And so because everybody is in it for what they will get, the founder is now trying to protect himself or herself from the other people who are also there to take what they can. I've been in business for about 25 years now, right? And one of the things that I find out is that almost everybody that has worked with me in building the Gemstone Group, which is a leadership development institution, and I was explaining to someone yesterday, I said at one time, let me say a couple of years ago, we had up to 200 volunteers working on different projects across the country. 200 people working for free, working without asking for a pay. Why? Because most of the things that we were doing was getting to do stuff that was building other people's lives without it being that it was only for what we were going to get out of it. So the question that founders have to ask themselves is, what is it that I believe in? What am I doing? Why are we doing it? And then communicating that, just like Salem said, you've got to be as a founder, you've got to be the greatest communicator of what you believe, because belief is contagious.
And I have a follow-up to that.
So that's critical for
I'm glad that you mentioned and you referenced what Salem said. I do have a follow-up to that, because Salem did say that as a founder, you have to be the story. You have to be the biggest storyteller of your brand. Beyond micromanagement, there are a number of founders who are afraid of selling their dreams to their team members because there's this fear of them outshining them as the founder. They're just afraid of no longer being in the spotlight. So what would you say to a founder who's scared of not being relevant again because the members of their team would have overtaken them and now are in the spotlight?
Founder, get over yourself. Focus on your vision and your dream, because your vision should be large enough for you to be able to grow within it. Right? There are two kinds. I always say you either be a lead, which is the cover of a thing, like when you have a bottle and you have a cover, LID, or you will lead. And to lead means that you are going to support, you're going to create room for growth. You're going to be able to make sure that things happen without you. Look, let me give you a practical example. By the nature of the work that I've done, as a business coach, as a management consultant, and as a trainer, I had to get to the point where for the business to continue to grow beyond me, because we've been working mostly in the banking sector and of course outside the banking, but the core of our business is in banking. For the business to grow beyond me, Fela cannot be the person standing before every classroom teaching leadership, teaching service excellence, teaching. I had to begin to groom other people who will be able to take the same slides that we've built and then go and create the same experience. Now, can you imagine how scary that is? To be able to think to yourself, what will happen if I build people who are able to deliver the same experience? And one of the things that used to happen when I run trainings is that when they tell the participants to be able to sign, rate the facilitator 1 to 5, the participants will rate me 7 over 5, not 5 over 5, 7 over 5. And I said to my guys, I said, listen, the day that I will know that I am successful is the day that you guys will run trainings and get the same 7 over 5, maybe 8 over 5, maybe 9 over 5. Why? Now, do I know that these guys can opt and leave? Yes. But that is the gift of a leader. And the reason why you are going to be able to pour yourself into people is so that like a candle, you are able to light other candles. And guess what? Over time, many of the people who have worked with my organization have become CEOs of their own consulting companies. Many of you know their names already. I won't bother to mention. But the point that I'm making is every time I have a big project, guess what? All these CEOs still come and submit themselves to that project and begin to work like as if they're working for a pay. My point is to say, when you build others, right, you will get room to grow. In building others, you will have capacity to be able to do greater things than you can do by yourself.
Right.
And if you are really about making a vision come true, you need to build other people. Don't worry. Nobody can take out your light simply because you light them.
Thank you very much for explaining that in such detail. I think that also applies to employers of labor who are afraid to maybe train or invest in their staff because they're afraid that they'll run away. Let's now bring the conversation. I can tell you very
quickly, again, even with Tara Feladrotoy, for instance, me having a very close front seat experience watching her, when Tara started doing makeup many years ago, like, almost now 27 years ago, she was new and novel in the industry. Everybody wanted Tara to do their makeup. And then at one point in time, the clients were building up. And we said, okay, look, maybe start training other makeup artists. But guess what? People were saying to her, Tara, if you train other makeup artists, you will become irrelevant. But that wasn't what happened. She trained other makeup artists. And then today, Tara has been able to train over 10,000. House of Tara as a business has been able to train over 10,000 makeup artists. And the industry has grown. Has Tara diminished in the industry? Absolutely not. She's still seen as a champion. She's still seen as a visionary. She's still seen as... So my point is, don't be scared of what you will lose when others grow. I hope somebody's listening to me. Don't be scared of what you will lose. Think of what you can gain. Wow. So some people say to me, Fela, what if I train them and they leave? And I ask the question, what if you don't train them and they stay? What will happen?
All right. Thank you for that. Let's bring the conversation now into the studio and talk about habits to bring. And Salem, I'd like you to respond to this. You are currently running 101 days of content creation. A number of us are on social media, and it's such a struggle to show up every day. But you're teaching business owners how to show up every day.
Yeah.
What would you say are some of the habits? We'll talk about the other habits that you think entrepreneurs need to have. But I want you to start off with talking about how you are able to build consistency.
I think one of the things a lot of business owners struggle with is a lack of self-awareness. One of the most important things you can do is know yourself, to understand these are my strengths, this is what I'm good at, and to fully exploit them. And for your weaknesses, you shouldn't always try to improve them, but rather find someone who is good at them. Because for everything you're trying to build, in order for it to work, there have to be people who are finding expression for their own dreams in building yours. So you need to work with those people, bring those people on board, and together you can build something that is strong, where they don't feel like they're just doing it for your business. It's also them building themselves and building their own dream in the process of building yours. And I think that's something business owners don't do early enough. So they should start doing that as early as possible, work with people who believe in what you're building and want to contribute to what you're building. And the Building Beyond You conference is going to be an opportunity for people to learn even more about how to do that and connect with people who would be able to do that for them also. All
right, so finding out people who have strengths in the areas that
you don't have weaknesses, and actually letting them work.
And letting them work. Yeah. So that's a good way. What other habits do you think the people should employ?
Definitely becoming an embodiment of what you want to promote, because just like Fela said, it is contagious. It's contagious. People will either take your enthusiasm or they will inherit your apathy. So you need to show that this thing I'm talking about, I do believe in it. I do sleep, eat, and breathe this thing, and then people are inspired by that. Otherwise, you're trying to convince people to do something that they don't want to do. But ultimately, leadership, I saw a quote the other day, leadership is getting people to do something and having them feel like it's their idea. So that's something that can only happen when you deeply believe in what you're building. You've put in the work to make sure that this is a good product, this is a good service, and that way you're able to bring people in and have them buy in because it is a good thing on its own. Yeah.
Now, Salem, just before we begin to wrap up, if you could give one of the conference attendees a digital branding action to do immediately after this conference, what will it be?
It would be to start a challenge, give yourself 3 days or 7 days to tell everybody about your business. Because if you don't tell people what you do, they simply will not know.
And what should duration be like typically for effective communication?
That's a good question. Yeah. For short form content on Instagram, should be 30. It could be anything from 30 seconds to 120. However, if it can be shorter, make it shorter. Don't say in 5 minutes what you can say in 1 minute. People shouldn't watch what you put out and feel like, I see all the ways this could have been shorter.
And besides, data is expensive.
Exactly. So keep it short, and if it has to be long, make sure it's just as valuable as it needs to be.
Okay. Yeah. Let's take a final comment from Fela as well. Can you tell us what people are to expect, what they should expect at this event, especially how they can get just clarity on what the event details will look like?
Well, I'm so excited about the Building Beyond You conference. It's happening on this Thursday, the 18th of September at the Harbour Point. Everybody that should be there but on about 8 o'clock. Just get in there. Registration is going to be seamless. It's going to be smooth. What are the things that you're going to get out of this? Number one, you'll get to be able to hear the practical tips and stories of the people who have built beyond themselves. I mean, you would hear the stories and get to ask questions from people like Mr. Tedo Peterside, who started IBTC Bank that today is Stanbic IBTC. You would get to hear how he started with, at that time, 6 million naira, and today has built what is literally a global bank from that, and he did it building beyond himself. Practical ideas. Mrs. Ibunkwa, how she started a chair center, and then Tara Fela started House of Tara, literally founded an industry. Fela Durotoye, myself, and many others, including Salem, there's so many other speakers, and all of them, some of them second generation speakers whose parents for instance, may have founded the business, or who are running a business that was founded by somebody that they don't know. It's not a relative, but they're carrying it on. You will get to see how to be able to get people to believe in what you do so that they can be able to carry it beyond you. You learn from the mistakes, learn from the misconceptions, so that you can know what to do. By the time you're leaving the Building Beyond You conference, a few things I promise you. Number one, you will have clarity about not just what you're trying to do, but how to be able to do it. Number two, you would have concrete steps that you can take. And then number three, which is the most important one, you will have the ability to connect with people who feel the same way, who are sharing the same kind of burden of trying to build, but you would also connect with people who can help you. You will connect with consultants. You will connect with people who can hold your hands on the journey. So this is not going to be one of those other conferences. It's not just another conference. This is a true, in the words of Tara Fela-Durotoye, it's a confluence of people who want to build and the people who will help you build. And I think that if you ever wanted to give something beyond that your life would have for a long time, you want to make sure you're at this conference. Don't miss it.
Even if it's streamed live.
Join online.
Exactly, I was about to ask that. Will it be streamed live, and how can people find information about the conference online?
So if you go to www.buildingbeyondyouinstitute.com, and once you click on it, and you'll be able to see how to register online. It's so easy. It's seamless, and we look for people joining from all across the world, making this happen. It's going to be a great day.
Well, Maya Angelou says that there's no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside. So we hope that this will give a number of people the opportunity to find his story, tell their story, and leave it for generations to come. Thank you so much for joining us. I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.
Building beyond your
Thank you, guys. You guys are doing amazing, and guess what? You guys are building beyond yourself. So fantastic.
That's very kind of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day. All right.
Thank you so much,
Salem, for joining us.
Thank you as well.
And we look forward to seeing all the amazing things. Deal 71. I must feature in this.
Fingers crossed.
Anyway.
All right.
Okay.
Let's move on to another conversation. Some criminal elements who pose as bureau de change agents around the commercial hubs of Ikeja, the Lagos state capital, have continued to deceive and steal from unsuspecting Nigerians who seek their services. In this special report, News Central's special correspondent on investigative journalism, Marshal Anthony Onoye, follows an incident reported by a woman who alleged her money was stolen by individuals posing as legitimate bureau de change agents. Let's take a look at his report.
When on Monday, 8th September 2025, Ngozi Onwuneme visited Allen Avenue, one of the busy streets in the central business district of Ikeja, Lagos State, seeking to change her foreign currency into local currency, she encountered 4 men who will later be alleged to swindle her of $1,000 from her $2,600, which she intended to change.
They stole some money from me yesterday. I went there with 2,600, and by leaving there, I noticed my $1,000 is missing. The money I took to them was in $100 pieces, a total of $2,600. So they removed 10 pieces, which is $1,000 from it.
Saddened by this incident and confused about what steps to take, Ngozi turned to the investigative unit of News Central.
I buy and sell. I come to Nigeria, I buy clothes, then going back, buy clothes, foodstuffs, then go back and sell. It took me 3 months to make the money. I think it was when he said you should check if it's original. That was when they removed the money.
Armed with these details, we immediately moved to investigate the incident. But first, we contacted the Nigeria police, informing them of the complaint before us. Then we moved to carry out a discreet surveillance of the area in question, with Ngozi in our company, hoping we would find these men and have her identify them. Our search came back futile, with none of these suspects in sight.
I feel so bad because I'm a single mother and I struggle for my money. I know it's not easy, but I pray there are courts so that this whole thing will stop in Nigeria.
2 days after the incident, another surveillance was carried out.
At the moment, we are on our way in search of these guys that she has complained about, and hopefully we get to find them. We would be, first of all, checking out the location where the foreign currency was taken from her, and then hopefully when we get them, we would invite the police to take over from there.
In a collaborative effort with the investigative unit of News Central, the men of the Nigeria Police from the CP Special Tactical Team on Wednesday, 10th September 2025, swung into action, arresting 2 alleged suspects who attempted to flee the scene upon the arrival of our team and the policemen.
Stop there. Why are you running? Why are you running? Why are you running? Confirm? You confirm? You confirm? You go to it.
The two arrested suspects have been alleged to have confessed to the crime and are currently being charged. This marks victory for Ngozi Onwuneme, who says she's happy justice can finally be done.
You've seen that they've been arrested. How does it make you feel?
I feel so relieved and happy. I'm very, very happy. At least justice will be taken, and they will stop taking sinning from people.
This is just one of so many cases reported daily of people being defrauded by criminal elements posing as bureau de change agents. Sometimes these cases get solved and victims find justice, while in most cases the culprit run free and are never caught. Hopefully, as reports like this continue to hit the airwaves, more awareness will be done to enlighten unsuspecting public of the dangers of patronizing unregistered bureau de change.
2 suspects involved amongst the 4 that were involved in defrauding Ngozi of her $1,000 when she went to change them have been caught and handed over to the Nigerian police for further investigation and prosecution. They were identified by their first name, Rafiu and Jimo. We do hope that this will serve as a deterrent to those who are involved in the business of defrauding people and cutting away with their hard-earned money, especially when it comes to the exchange of hard currency.
For News Central, Marshal Anthony Onoye.
Thanks for staying with us here on Breakfast Central. Let's bring to you the headlines. We begin with news coming from Malawi, where voting is underway as citizens turn out to choose their leaders for the next 5 years. Many are eager to make their voices heard despite the tough economic challenges facing the country. President Lazarus Chakwera voted in his hometown of Malembo in Lilongwe district. As Malawians take part in this pivotal election, attention is firmly on how today's choices will shape the nation's path forward. Talking Nigerian politics next, where a coalition of civil society organizations have urged the National Assembly to summon the sole administrator, retired Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas, to give an account of his stewardship in River State for the past 6 months. The groups under the auspices of the Nigeria Civil Society Situation Room said the call had become necessary, considering that the mandate handed to Ibas after the suspension of Governor Siminalayi Fubara by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu would expire by Thursday. More so, the Situation Room, in a statement it issued to commemorate the 2025 International Day of Democracy, said it was worried that the nation is still grappling with systemic corruption. Meanwhile, the countdown is on in River State as a 6-month emergency rule winds down. Events marking the transition began on Sunday with a Thanksgiving service in Port Harcourt. At the service, the sole administrator, retired Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas, reflected on the situation he inherited, a state divided, unstable, and weighed down by broken trust. Meanwhile, residents of the state expressed mixed opinions on how the past 6 months have impacted the state's economy and their livelihood.
That is moving in River State. That is number one. Security-wise, it's not even improved. The whole town, the whole street of Port Harcourt is full of these crop boys, whatever you call them. The when Sim was there, it wasn't like that. I'm a Democrat myself. And the democracy they say is coming is on a fool's paradise.
The change I actually noticed is people begging. There's nowhere you go, even in the bank. There's nowhere you go that people don't beg for something to eat, just to feed. Nobody's complaining about getting rich or getting wealthy.
There was a Supreme Court judgment or Supreme Court restriction on that money. Yet, Ibas went further to spend that money without hearing from Supreme Court. Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu also gave order and approved the spending of River State resources, not minding the Supreme Court restriction that was on River State resources. At this point, we also were told that 400 and something billion was approved for Ibas to spend for the list for 6 months that was going to be in office. We are yet to know what Ibas has done with the 400 billion that Rivers State government approved, or National Assembly approved for Ibas to spend within the period he was going to stay for state of emergency. We are thereby calling on EFCC, ICPC, and other financial crime related offences to please investigate the financial misconduct or financial misappropriation that the Ibas has actually backed upon ever since he became the state sole administrator from the 18th of March to this point in time that is about to leave.
Let's move on now to security matters. Armed bandits on Monday abducted about 40 Muslims worshippers during early morning prayers at Gidan Turbi Village Mosque in Safe local government area of Zamfara State. According to community sources, the assailants struck around 5:30 a.m. surrounding the mosque before whisking away the worshippers at gunpoint. The captives were later taken into the forest around the Gohori axis of Safe. The incident has thrown the community into panic, highlighting the fragility of ongoing peace initiatives in the northwest, where dialogue efforts with armed groups continue to face setbacks. Meanwhile, the Plateau State Emergency Management Agency on Monday visited and sympathized with victims of attacks in the 11 communities of Kuan Pan local government area of Plateau. The summer delegation led by the Executive Secretary Sunday Abdu also donated an additional assortment of food and non-food items to the internally displaced persons taking refuge in IDP camps. The attacks resulted in the loss of lives, destruction of properties, and displacement of many of the inhabitants from the ancestral homes. Abdu condemned the attacks in the strongest terms, describing them as heinous and calamitous, and prayed for lasting peace in Kuan Pan. A coalition of civil society organizations have hailed President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, security agencies and private contractors for what it describes as a historic success in the fight against crude oil theft. According to the group, Nigeria has recorded its lowest crude oil losses in 16 years, with the figure dropping to just 9,600 barrels per day in July 2025 compared to more than 100,000 barrels daily at its peak in 2021. The coalition credited this achievement to stronger political will, effective security operations, and strategic collaboration with Tantita Security Services.
Reduction in crude oil losses translates directly into increased revenue for our nation, Nigeria. This means more funds are available for critical government projects that will benefit every citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, from building roads and schools to providing healthcare and social services. It also strengthens Nigeria's position in the global oil market and enhances investors' confidence. We believe this success story exemplifies what is possible when governments and credible private partners work together with a clear and shared purpose. We urge the government to not only sustain this momentum, but to also reinforce and protect this vital partnership.
And finally, in North Africa, Algeria's newly appointed Prime Minister Sifi Ghireb, along with members of his government, on Monday attended the opening of the new session of the Council of the Nation, the country's upper chamber of parliament. This follows President Abdelmajid Tebbone's announcement on Sunday of the formation of a new government, with Ghireb officially named Prime Minister after serving an interim role. The new administration marks a significant step in Algeria's political landscape. Ghireb, who holds a doctorate in the material science, previously served as chairman of the board of Algerian Qatari Steel. And that's all the news we have for you for this hour. Don't forget to join us at 12 for the 12 report, where you can get more news, details, and of course information that you can use. Stay with us. The front pages of the newspapers comes up next. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Breakfast Central. It's time for the papers to be reviewed, and joining us this morning is globally renowned journalist Habib Aronar. Good morning. Good to have you.
Good morning.
Morning.
It's good to see you on a suit, according to Benga.
You're looking very suitable.
It happens at times, you know.
Hope the rains didn't disturb you this morning.
No, not quite. I live close by.
Oh, thank God.
Nice.
Thank God.
Nice.
Okay, let's start off with the newspapers. Remember that you also can get to be a part of the papers this morning. When we review the papers, we open the phone lines. The numbers to call will be on the TV screen if you'd like to drop comments, contributions, or disagree with anything that we or our analysts in studio is saying. Please feel free. The phone lines are open and the numbers to call are there. Let's start with the Punch papers. On the front page of the Punch newspaper, food price crash. Farmers fault federal government's order as agro imports hit 2.2 trillion naira. Order won't work. Federal government must subsidize transport, agri sectors, AFAN says, and millers say. Federal government to distribute 2,000 tractors to farmers. Dangote vows refinery won't fall to oil mafia. South is behind as Southwest maintains voter pre-registration lead. Nepal protests. 2 Nigerian inmates rearrested after jailbreak. Yay!
I mean, you stand out like a sore thumb. It's a country of Asians, and then you're black, and you think you can escape from
jail. Okay. Federal government suspends 4% controversial import duty levy. SS, SANU, and NASU issue strike notice over unpaid allowances, and there we go again. Week. FX inflows reserves boost naira to 1,497 naira per dollar. Tinubu, Fubara, and foreign trips. IBAS set for handover. Presidency fires back as Atiku warns of revolution. That's all on the front page of the Punch. Let's start with the imports duty that has been, the imports levy that has been suspended.
And as the price really crashed.
We'll come back to that one. Let's start with the imports levy. But if our producers can please put the press release that the federal government had put up, talking about the price, the crash or the suspension of 4% import duty. If we can please put up the press release. The second paragraph of the press release there talked about how they had coordinations, they had meetings with stakeholders, and had decided that it wasn't the best course to follow. So yes, that's what it says. Following extensive consultations with industry stakeholders, trade experts, and relevant government officials, it has become clear that the implementation of the 4% FOB charge poses significant challenges to the Nigerian trade facilitation, environment, and economic stability. Many importers and businesses have raised concerns about the increased financial burden this levy imposes, with potential adverse effects on inflation, trade competitiveness, and the overall business climate in Nigeria. So they're suspending it to provide for comprehensive stakeholder engagement and a thorough review of the framework. On the face of it, Mr. Arena, this looks good. It shows that the government is listening.
Absolutely.
When people cry, they're listening. But the underlying concern I have is that this is not the first time we see them come out with a policy and then people kick against it, then they go back. Does it mean that adequate thought and preparation is not put into ensuring that these policies are properly investigated, that they do their due diligence before rolling out policies?
That's very carefully thought out.
That's a very fine question. But don't forget that government can make mistakes. And when the policy is formulated and it's been implemented, and there are bottlenecks, there are landmines, citizens have the right to cry out that, come on, this thing is not working, this thing is affecting us adversely. And what the government has done, and rightly too, in my opinion, is to suspend the policy implementation for some time. I think we are already seeing the signs, because before now, Nigerians have been crying foul that they want to kill us with all these levies, and it shows that it's not been working. And with this backtrack and reversal, I'm sure Nigerians are happy that it will help the economy. Because if you're taxing people, how do you want the economy to rebound? So I think it's a good way of showing that we are responsible and at the same time responsive to your yearnings. Let's see and wait. There are mechanisms put in place to ensure that this thing is well implemented and how to help the economy.
All right. Let's also now go back to the big story. The main story here, food price crash. Farmers fault federal government's order as agro imports hit 2.2 trillion naira. Now, it would say the details of the story is that there was a recent order on the 11th of September 2025 was reported that President Tinubu ordered a Federal Executive Council committee to further crash the prices of food items across the country. The Minister of State for Agriculture and Food Security, Sabi Abdullahi, stated this in Abuja while presenting a paper at a one-day capacity building workshop for journalists covering the Senate. He said the president's order will be enforced to further crash prices of food items by ensuring the safe passage of products through various routes across the country. However, this has drawn sharp criticism from farmers and rice millers who argue that mere pronouncements cannot override market forces or compensate for poor planning. They say, and I quote, "The cost of food will go down if transport goes down, but that alone is not enough. Our farmers are complaining that the prices are so low that they cannot buy fertilizer. The importation has dealt with our farmers." This is according to the national president of the All Farmers Association of Nigeria, Kabir Ibrahim.
So it's a delicate balancing act. If you're the government, how would you, or if you had the opportunity to advise the government, how would you advise them on proceeding? What is a sustainable way to make everyone happy, the farmers and also the people? Because me, I'm happy to buy cheap food.
There's a saying in Yoruba land that in other words, if you solve the food problem, everything has been solved. And that is why people say that in America and other countries, they've been able to solve their food problem. Because these things are cheap. And that is because government in those countries, they subsidize food production. They give farmers money. Right? But in Nigeria, we import virtually everything. And people are saying that if you allow people to import everything, people that we are growing things locally, how do we survive? You know, and because of this cry that price of food is becoming too much for people to afford. And that is why Tinubu directed the FEC that you got to try as much as possible to crash prices of food, which we are seeing now. But farmers are saying that no, it's affecting us negatively. That the money we have used to invest, the money we have used to buy fertilizer, it's still expensive. You know, so I think that should be a holistic approach by the government, because to some extent things are becoming a bit cheap in market. Because if my wife is not complaining at home, I know that yes, something is wrong somewhere. So I think it's a very good story by Punch, because the prices are going down a bit. But my argument and point is that come you find a way to help farmers. If farmers are complaining, we'll be in a big mess. If farmers cannot go to farm because of insecurity, if they cannot have good roads to ship their goods to the urban area, then we have a problem. Come back to tackle those areas. Those are the things that will make food to be cheap in the markets.
Okay. Top right corner of the paper is another very important story, and this is, of course, what's happening in Rivers State vis-a-vis the return of the president. Top right corner says, Tinubu, Fubara, and foreign trips, Ibas set for handover. So the question is, how is this handover going to officially take place? We've seen the Vice Admiral Ibas go for Thanksgiving on Sunday. Him and his family were there for the Thanksgiving. Are we going to see an automatic, is there going to be a re-swearing in?
Maybe a parade.
And that will not be necessary. What people are looking at, they're looking forward to see how the president, will make that pronouncement. Is it through a national address or through a press statement from the presidency? And some are even saying that, some are even tying it to why the president is coming down to town. He's cutting short his holiday to come back to Nigeria. They're saying that maybe that's one of the reasons why.
I doubt it.
It's not impossible, but the suspension of Obama was made through a national broadcast. We are waiting to see if its return will also be made through a national broadcast or a presidential statement. But what is important for us to note is that the sole administrator has been acting as if he was elected. That is not acceptable. It's wrong. We should not approve it. If it's going to charge with his family, that is no problem. It's not something that is official. It should be acting behind the curtain.
Exactly.
On the background, not showing it as if he was an elected person. That is very wrong. And more importantly, to me, is that this gentleman should be made to face the National Assembly.
To account for his system.
Just like a civil society organization.
The money has been spent in that state. Should account for them. There should be a thorough audit of the money you have spent so far. That is the way to go about it. If you just go down the road,
or maybe the elected
just go down the
governor
night without accounting for what is spent, that will be the service.
Maybe the elected governor Fubara would do it.
Is that Fubara that should do the accounting for the money that he did not spend?
I like your report this morning. There should be on the street of Port Harcourt expressing their views on the likely comeback of Fubara. I don't think he'll be sworn in. That is not necessary. It's already the governor, you know, that is only an intellect now that happened.
So we are...
I think the state is threat for his comeback. It's in the best interest of the state, of the federal government, and for democracy, for them to come back and resume.
So it's season of comeback and return. Do you see the door also opening for Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan to come back?
No, it's one of the tragedies of our democracy. Now we have a rambunctious Senate leader, Senate president, and an insensitive Senate. That's why the public outcry. Everybody is saying that allow this woman to come back. This woman has paid her dues. She has suffered enough. 6 months, and his people, Okogu Central, are not represented in the Senate. These people are still not balked. They're not even affected. They don't even give a damn. I think the ball is in their court. The only is on them. Natasha, to me, should be enjoying the game. Eventually, she will come back. You know, it's some of us look at them and say, shame on you people for not doing the right thing. It's the honorable thing for them to do. You know, the easy way out is for them to call a meeting and be ready to come back.
Okay.
And the only way out.
I think we can take a look at the front page of the Tribune newspaper. Let's have the front page of the Tribune newspaper up, please. The headline says 2027, PDP demands legal backing for electronic transmission of results. Says the writer says party not dead. Declares confidence in Fubara as emergency rule winds down. And Rivers dismisses relevance of article. Others says reconciliation disciplinary measures in progress. And Nigeria's inflation rate drops to 20.12% in August, says the MBS. That's some good news there. And also on the front page of the Tribune newspaper, there's move to reduce federal government stakes in joint war ventures capable of undermining Nigeria's sovereignty, Article 1. Or your launches a sustainable social protection initiative. And I can't facilitate Natasha's resumption, says CNA. Health. Walking can prevent back pain risk by 23%. I wonder how they did that calculation to be exact 23%. Refinery ended Nigeria's 58-kill crisis, says Dangote. And the writer says, we're creating jobs, not displacing anyone. So those are the newspaper headlines we have from the Tribune. But let's take a call from Francis in Akwa Ibom. Francis.
Good morning, Francis.
Good morning, Francis. How about you?
Yes, you know, when I'm listening to this newspaper review that you guys do, honestly, this country...
Francis, we can barely hear you. Can you please speak up?
Can you hear me now?
A bit better, yes.
Okay, yeah, I said Nigeria is on low battery, and we don't have good charger. All the people who are coming out to be president are all China charger. Honestly speaking, and I really want us, the youth, to rise up. We need to stand up. We need to stand up and see what we can do for this nation. Yes, I'm saying it because while I was in primary school, I was told I'm the leader of tomorrow. During that period, Buhari was the president. I am over 46. Buhari has come back to be president. Obasanjo has come back to be president. Atiku is still warming up. Watch the ages of these people. Now somebody is telling my son in the school that he is going to be the leader of tomorrow. My son is asking, Daddy, you have not been leader. When will I now be leader? So we need to rise up, change some of this narrative. Please, like I always say when I go to some radio programs, politicians are surprised that we believe them, even when they don't believe themselves. We should not believe in these people. This one of the presidential aspirants or presidential candidates in the last election is always staying outside the country to tell us what is happening in Nigeria. Please let him come back and stay here. Sit down inside this country. As in, let him have the feel. Not because whenever he's coming to election, whenever he's drawing close to election, all the people who want to contest election will now become, how will I call it, chief mourners of families they don't know. They will begin to visit people, visit up and down, visit. They will very soon they will start eating corn on the streets. They will start eating food with people just because they want to go and sit down on the wealth of this nation. I wish the youth, we need to rise up, join political parties, let the youth join parties and be part of those who will make decisions for this nation. I'm tired of all these China chargers, not even better charger. China chargers that want to charge Nigeria. One bar is remaining in Nigeria, one bar. The charge, we need good charger. And those who will be the good chargers are not coming out. Please, this nation needs to change. I feel like weeping for this nation. And I'm going to start something very soon so that these paparazzis that we need to be snapping picture and putting at the frame of our house and on our houses to say, these are the people who spoiled this nation. We need to change things. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Francis.
Thank you so much.
Even this China. China is doing really well.
I've never seen that definition in a long
China, right? It was back in the day that China charger will be solved.
Technologically advanced.
They're far more advanced than many.
I mean, if you look at
the Tribune headline, front page of Tribune. There are good stories there.
Very good.
The lead story on PDP. The other one at the bottom, the refinery. The PDP story.
Let's talk about the refinery first. This is life-changing for a lot of Nigerians. It's, you know, the irony is we hardly remember the times of suffering when you get used to a system of having. You don't remember the times of have-nots. I remember sleepless nights on endless fuel queues. I even remember, only trying to date a petrol attendant just to have access to just to have access to petrol, oil and gas industry. You know, so Nigerians have gone through a lot, and it shows you that positive things can happen in this country. This is the single largest train refinery in the entire world, and it's working, and we're benefiting from it, and we're also exporting. So what does this tell you? Our refinery, this is a statement of confidence. Our refinery ended Nigeria's 50-year fuel queue crisis. And what does that tell you about the state of our own
I urge you guys to read
government refinery?
The statement of Dangote that were publicized today in Delhi. A continuation of it is what you are seeing today in the papers. Well written, very concise, very apt, and very instructive. You know, a statement that was a response to what the dealers, young dealers, marketers have been flaunting in public space. Dangote come out with a rebuter, comprehensive rebuter. You know, you guys will notice that I'm not a fan of Dangote refinery, but I'm not particularly disposed to a monopolistic environment. We are someone because I don't like the way his intervention in the cement industry, in the salt sector.
And it's too much of a risk for your power.
If you look at what it's doing because refinery, oil is a major thing. It is so of this country. You know, what Dangote is saying is that they gave many people licenses for the refineries. Some are doing their own now. Some are like Boa and other people. They are in fact of having a refinery. Let me have my own. I invested money on my own. I spend money. Now I'm happy to be the biggest. And I'm saying that I can't be hoodwinked by third parties. The way describe Nupeng, another neighbor or something.
They didn't put anything inside.
So what you said is that let us operate in the free environment. It's market forces. You know what? The argument of Dangote to me very convincing. But these guys have been dealing with us for long. Nupeng, that can you imagine one person owning about 20 trucks, 30 trucks. They will not allow this to operate. So all you know Dangote is saying is that it's a free
market.
It's a free market. You guys go and operate on your own. I have my own, I have a license and I built my refinery. And I have a right to, to buy trucks to supply this to Nigerians and I done those steps. So why are you fighting me? So I think that is sense in what you said. And I also said one thing, that these guys are that kind of people that have been making our refineries not to work for long. And I agree with him.
And I agree.
These guys, they're making billions from importation of oil. And that for now, since look at the price, the prices have been going down. So the argument is very important.
The talks will get to.
So let me understand what the government will do. The government will have straight in it. to try and see what they can do. But thank God they have a very convincing and robust argument and message to Nigerians.
Okay, let's still look at the front page. The big story talking about PDP. PDP is calling for a legal framework mandating electronic transmission of election results ahead of the 2027 general election, stressing that he will resist any attempt to undermine the will of Nigerians. He had a press briefing on Monday, and the Publicity Secretary, Honorable Debo Ologunagba, had said that the party was concerned about past electoral challenges and then insisted that the Independent National Electoral Commission must ensure real-time transmission of results directly from polling units. This was supposed to happen in 2023. It didn't happen. What are the chances that we will see this happen in 2023?
And that is the pain of our problem. We're not having a free and fair elections. Election is not, it's a process, not just your vote. So maybe I've been saying that election results are decided during collation. After collated, we are transmitting it to the INEC office where they are not the result. That is where they have the problem. And what the man is saying, Ologunagba, on behalf of his party, the PDP, which every concerned Nigerian should be saying, is that how can we have a free and fair elections? We are talking about democracy. We are talking about elections. We are talking about contesting elections. These stakeholders, since they will come to contest elections, their concern should be how do we make sure that the votes of Nigerians count? That is very, very critical. And that's why I'm so much attracted to this story. How do you transmit result from the polling booth, from the polling unit to the collation center? By not just so that they will not go and manipulate the result.
Right.
That should be the concern of every party, not only the PDP. Because if elections are free and fair and credible, we can be on the road to development and growth. That is my position. So I think it's a very good result. And don't forget that I've said on this program that if PDP decided to zone the presidency to the south, the party will remain relevant. That's what is going on now. I said it on this program.
Yeah.
That is why they are remain relevant. That is why the name of Jonathan and also Jonathan will be on the trail. I think it should be concerned to all of us.
Okay. I'll just run through a few of the headlines and then we can move to the next paper. Still on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune. Move to reduce federal government stakes in joint oil ventures capable of undermining Nigeria's sovereignty, Article warns. Oyo launches Sustainable Social Protection Initiative. I can't facilitate Natasha's resumption, CNA says. They say Senate court must authorize her return. Nigeria's inflation rate dropped to 20.12% in August, according to the Bureau of Statistics.
Yeah, I'm not feeling it too.
That's what everybody's saying.
Then go feel it very soon. Guinness Book of World Records confirms Hilda Baci's largest serving of Nigerians. Congratulations once again to Hilda Baci. And finally, daily walking can prevent back pain risk by 23%.
Yes. All about SWAPs.
It's very key.
Yes.
I'm 61. I don't have back pain.
I would have thought
I don't have waist pain. I don't joke with walking. It's
Joe,
very
are you
key.
listening?
Very, very important. Please, don't joke with it.
Joe, are you listening?
I'm listening.
People should start walking from the house to the office now. Stop taking vehicles to come.
And your MD is a
gym boss.
Absolutely.
No, I'm going to give him a run for it. I was in the gym last night.
Very, very fit.
It's just that I hope management is watching.
So they can
once in a while,
for us.
maybe Fridays.
We're going to present Breakfast Central for
they should, because
I'm not sure MD will be against
our viewers will not be able to see how
MD is very, very fit. Everybody's grey hair. Look at his body. Fit and firm. The picture on the front page of Tribune is also interesting.
Yes.
That's the picture of incoming Olubadan of Ibadan.
Yes.
Former Ondo State Governor Miko and former Osun State Governor, now an ADC chieftain. That is interesting. Visit him.
Interesting.
For the fact picture.
Okay, of course, the Daily Trust. Trust the Daily Trust to report news of insecurity, even if the other papers don't report it. The big story here, amidst peace deal in Katsina, bandits abduct 55 in Zamfara. Bandits yesterday abducted 43 worshippers from a mosque in Gidan Tobe village, Safe local government area. They were also said to have kidnapped 12 persons at Godal village, Bukayam local government area of the state on Sunday. We'll come back to that story. FCT doctors strike, services grounded in hospitals. Tinubu cuts short vacation, returns to Nigeria today. 2027, UN warns parties against hate speech. Kano Maradi Rail project at 60% completion, President says. Presidency, article trade words over hunger, poverty. 3 patients die at AKTH as Kedco cuts power over debt.
You know, daily trust, they don't miss words.
Oh, they don't. So they are going to let you, don't deceive yourself.
Like Guinness Book of Record, what is that?
No.
Straight to the action.
Violence, like, it seems people don't want, you want to pretend like nothing is happening. They are going to remind you.
Stories. There are critical stories there.
Maybe we should start out with these 3 patients die.
Everything. Is it everything? Oh.
Anyway, we have a caller. Let's take Hilda Peter from Hello. All right. Are you there? Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
All right.
I'm calling from Bayelsa.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, about the Nigerian NNPC, the headline there says Nigeria ended, 55 years, or the NNPC ended in 55 years or 50 years. You see, let us be sincere to ourselves in this country. You look at when Gowon was in power, oil was in a big boom. That he doesn't know what to do with the money. He started making bridges all over Lagos, when Lagos was the capital of Nigeria. Now, today, where are we? All the refineries today have been abandoned. And nobody talks. Abacha came, gave his in-law money to say what they call it, the provision of the refinery. Nothing has been done. All the dollars, all of them have been stolen. Nobody talks. Now, refinery today we know is to produce, not to be selling crude oil. You go to refineries, they are not working. How are they paying the workers of NNPC? Are they paying them for oil sales, or are they paying them for refining of the purpose of establishing NNPC? Nothing is being done. Now, the present NNPC MD, he has done all his own homework and everything, and stolen all our money. Put all his boys all in Warri, Port Harcourt, and all these other things. And all the money has been stolen. Nobody talks. Which type of country are we? Are we afraid of ourselves, or are we afraid of who? Poverty is smelling in the country because of stolen wealth that belongs to the masses. Let us go back and think. Let us not be afraid of ourselves. Let us say the truth and arrest those who are arrested and jail them. Let others learn. We call ourselves Christians. We call ourselves Muslims. We go to the mosque on Friday. We go and bow down and start praying to Allah. The Christians go to church again and go and say they are worshiping God. So we stolen money. They will go for Thanksgiving. We stolen money. What a shameful nation. What a shameful country. In fact, I cry for Nigeria. At my age today, I'm 70-something years old. I'm older than this country. And I know how our independence started. So most of us that are in the House of Assembly, House of Reps today, they don't know the issue of this country. If they know, this thing will be paining them. They just go there to go and earn money, make themselves to be rich, and make themselves to be somebody, and that is all. Because of their community, you can imagine the local government level. Nothing is happening. Nobody will be responsible for something that has been done wrong. To talk, they will send Ayat to kill you. If you talk anything, the next day, you know. In fact, in this country, in fact, I don't know what to say again. I shed tears for Nigeria. Anytime I look at all these type of headlines, I shed tears.
All right.
Thank you very much,
he said
it's really sad for Nigeria. I mean, too many things. But I want us to touch on this story before we leave as quickly as we can, because we have less than 3 minutes. 3 patients die at Aminu Kano Teaching Hospital as Kedco cuts power over debt. Now, if you look into the details of this story, apparently they had over 950 million naira debt, it would seem, and that they were insistent on leaving the residents with, ensuring that the residents and the hospital were on the same feeder. So the Kedco kept insisting, put them on separate feeders so that residents would pay their own, hospital would pay their own. But they insisted. and then they went ahead and did the disconnection. As a result, 4 people were in ICU, 3 people have died. Now, I'm seeing in the papers, the way it's reported, it said, management of AKTH expresses its sincere appreciation to the Commissioner of Police and the MD of KEDCO for their timely support and concern during this challenging period. They're saying that they wish to inform the general public that the matter has been resolved amicably.
How about the people?
So what about the people that died?
Have you revived them?
What's going to happen? Is there going to be any investigation? Who's going to take responsibility for the 3 people? They've just reported it as a casualty, just like that.
They didn't even acknowledge it in the statement. They didn't acknowledge their death.
I'm amazed. I'm amazed.
Hello? Shocking things.
It's not tidy. And I don't know why they cannot put hospitals, the different line.
Yeah, because it's critical national infrastructure.
Emergency services. Can't put them on, do them because their own money, not call up their light. In this same country, the teaching hospital in Ibadan, right? They had no light for more than 6
we covered that story earlier this year. Yeah.
For months, they
had to bring their own generators. Their own
solar panels.
What do you call it? Generator to the hospitals. It's unfortunate.
In this country.
What the gentleman said, last caller from Bayelsa said, captured what we are feeling, what we are seeing. You know, anytime you see all these things, just begin to wonder what is wrong with us as a people. You know?
At the end of the day, I'm hoping that there's an investigation that's carried out, that this matter is not just swept off as saying that KEDCO and the KTH have settled.
These are preventable deaths.
KEDCO has come out to say that they're being blackmailed, that this matter had nothing to do with them. But there needs to be an investigation, and someone needs to take responsibility for the 3 lives that have been lost.
Absolutely.
That does it for the show today.
Exactly, that does it for today. Thank you so much for joining us, to our guests who have joined us physically and virtually, to our online audience, those joining us via YouTube Live. And we can see Mokunye Chukwemeka, who says he's working from home. Shout out to your HR. I mean,
the rain has stopped, eh?
Yeah, the rain seems to have stopped.
The rain has stopped.
Yes. It has abated.
Abated, sorry.
It is abated. Sorry, the rain has abated.
I'm de-escalating fight.
We'll be back again tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
All right, see you tomorrow, everyone. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.